gentlemen. Hello.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff, you're amazing, man. I got to tell you, you are amazing. You pick a song that actually the signal of the show to get us started, and you starting dancing with the True Teller. You get into it, Amania. So once. And Amania, how are you, darling? Once again, welcome to our show every Thursday, the Political Flashback. We're doing some great stuff. And love to be here every Thursday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. We're the only one in Central Florida who could do this. Expose the hypocrisy. Expose the liberal radical media right here in Central Florida. And with the Truth Teller, who's been around here for so long, know everything that's going on with Amania. Dr. White probably know every politician and everybody. He's schooling us and myself and Amania. So it's always great to be here in our studio. And remember, our program show is open. It's an open phone line. So you could always give us a call at 407-894-1680. That's the number to call in the station. You could participate. Our program is an open talk show radio. And also you could check us online on Facebook and YouTube, I believe. And 1680, that's if you driving, coming from home, or if you're going to work, turn your radio down and to 1680 and listen to us, and let's have some good debate. We got some great stuff we're going to talk about. And right before started, I was talking to Dr. White. We just kind of put a little spin on a little social stuff, talking about how the Western civilization embrace homosexuality but oppose polygamy. So I'm going to have him open with that line.
You want me to get in trouble, huh? Okay. Listen, Voy, it was always good to be on the show with you. You know, the other name for Voy is Judge, and we have Sister Warrior out there, and we'd love to have her in the studio, but she's working from home today. But truth resides everywhere she goes. This week is going to be a very, very exciting show. There's so much going on domestically in our own region with the various races that's taking place, with people talking about developing a new metropolitan area or a new city within Orange County. That's something to talk about. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And we see some of the misfits going down to El Salvador, misfits, trying to bully another country, trying to push American hegemony onto another society, give us our boy back. But the crazy thing about it, he's not their boy. He's home. So anyway, we have that taking place. And of course, I think they had the viewing of the Pope today. But yeah, that was so interesting. We live in a crazy society whereby a man can be a woman can be a man. You can have intimacies with the same sex. You can just walk hand in hand and carry on. And they say, oh, that's great and normal. That's a wonderful thing. That's how God wants it. But when you talk about some of the cultural elements that are practiced throughout the world, not just Africa, but in Asia, parts of Europe, parts of South America, something called polygamy, you open up a whole can of worms. So it seems as if we as people of African descent, people of the global South, sometimes we have taken on notions and cultures of another society without asking any questions. And one of the things that we have to do in reference to self-determinism, especially in politics, we have to define our own needs. We have to define our own interest. we have to define what is important to us. And that goes right back to some of the things that we want to talk about, right, Sister Warrior?
Yes, it does. Hello, everyone. Happy to be with you once again. And yes, Dr. White and Voy, you are right. There is so much going on right now. I cannot keep up with all of the drama. And we have drama here in our own backyard. The drama is traveling across the country. It's traveling to other countries. And so I am eager and ready to talk about some of these things. So yes, Dr. White, it is good to be with you all.
I forgot to make mention that this little book here, Blacklisted, you keep missing it, Sister Warrior.
I know.
I'll catch up with you this weekend, inshallah. But this little book called Blacklisted, The Price for Speaking Truth, is now number 20 in Black books. It's moving up. It's moving up quickly. And people are beginning to see, hey, there's something that's happening, something that we should be thinking about, reading about, and discussing. So if you haven't, make sure you pick up your copy of Blacklisted, The Price for Speaking Truth at Barnes & Nobles or Amazon or any other platforms that they have. And pretty soon, Judge, that we're going to be coming out with their audiobook.
Okay. That's, well, a lot of people don't know what an audiobook is. So,
well, that's what a book means to you.
Yeah.
You can drive and listen to it and so forth.
Oh, it's wonderful. I'm glad you said that because I have a list of books that I have to read. And I find that doing it through Audible really helps me get them in. So I'm glad you said that.
Is that going to keep me awake at night when I read?
Probably so. I don't think it's boring.
I never tried it.
Yeah, try it.
I'm going to try that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it does put you to sleep, don't tell no one.
Dr. White brought something very important. We look at how society viewed things. And we were talking off the mic with that. And I said, well, we should go ahead and put it in the schedule. How the Western civilization force marriage. If you really understand from the ancient world, from Jacob's and Sarah, and he had a mistress and all that kind of good stuff. You look at the Bible and how God had praised polygamy, but condemned homosexuality. You look at how the Roman, when they leave their life and religion after 1600, how they force that kind of lifestyle on the African culture. But let's look at the result today for African American. The average marriage for African American is less than 5 years. Mm-hmm. The highest divorce rate than any other race. Okay. How they view polygamy and how our government here, people demanding all kind of right for homosexuality, and now transgender added to it. If it was different, Dr. White, where we worship, have law for, there's certain state, I think there's 2 states in the union. I believe there's more, and including Canada, that accept polygamy. That's Utah, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Montana, I'll do another search on it. But like you said, the rest of the world, that's pretty much okay.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at it in the United States, sadly, almost like 67% of Black women especially will never get married. We're not talking about getting married and divorced, but will never get married. And the numbers are going up. Should they live a life without relationships? Should they decide to become lesbians because they would never have a mate? Of course not.
Do you think if it was polygamy practice, more people, especially women, would have been less engaged in homosexuality?
I believe so. I believe so because they push polygamy as being a nuisance, as being illegal, as being bad, as being terrible. However, they're pushing lesbianism and homosexuality as being a normal practice. You see? So therefore, if something becomes normalized, it becomes practiced by more and more people, and they say, wow, we're just doing a simple thing. We're doing a natural thing. You see? I mean, it's interesting. There is a president in Senegal that the whole world is just very taken by him. When he took his inauguration address a few months ago, he came up there with his 2 wives. First time they ever seen it, like anything like that, openly. And he stated that this is our culture. This is not a problem. And it's something that allows us to grow and to have steady and comfortable relationships, and the children have fathers and so forth. In America, in the Western world, we live in a hypocrisy in everything that we do in so many respects. I mean, for example, if you're good, don't be too good. If you're successful, don't be too successful.
That's
if
you
you're
work hard
smart,
for.
don't be too smart. You see? Oh, we live in a contradiction. Never talk about war. You know, peace. We always want peace, but at the same time, we have war all the time. We're killing people. We live in a contradiction. And this contradiction is not very good within our society. And it's really destroying the very fabric of our world. There's these contradictions, this hypocrisy. Even when we talk about politics, right? When we talk about the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and religion and all of this stuff. But now, especially us who are conservative, for the past several years, when we spoke out in the manner that we wanted to speak out, what happened to us? We were polarized.
But Dr. White, let me ask you a question. As Black men in this country, African-American men, why do the Black church in America praise and be the puppet of the Democratic Party who push homosexuality but not choose polygamy? And you see most of these pastors, they involve in faithful relationship, a whole lot of them. So why is that?
Well, most of the pastors are pimps.
Okay.
Kind of pimps.
Not
all of them, but some of them.
Why?
First of all, within the very structure of the African American theology, the church was looked upon and practiced a concept called revolutionary theology, liberation theology. And the church was that unit that not only kept the community together, but fought against the various evils that society had. However, in the last 30 years, especially, we had looked down upon liberation theology and freedom theology. We looked down upon it. So now the theology in the church, the Black church, is a feel-good theology, a neocultural theology. When I say neocultural, that means the ideas from another group of people defining what is good for you, you see? And therefore, then we lost our concept. I'll give you a case in point. Who was the minister of Obama when he became president?
Reverend Wright.
Reverend Wright. All right.
Jeremiah Wright.
Then within a matter of a few short months, his minister became, he's living in Orlando now.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh. He has to, I can't remember the name of the church, maybe Google, but he's right here. He was a white, non-denominational.
I think a lot of things
preacher.
Reverend Jeremiah Wright was taken out of context when you really listen speaking, and it was a shame on Obama to deny him not standing up. The more I listen to him, I kind of, I don't agree with him 100%, but we could have some common ground. Amania, as a woman, would you okay for your husband to have 7 wives?
You said 7?
So, all right. So let's
I want you to be honest, and because you've been living this life, and you
Okay.
think it would be more healthier in our society, and also more helpful. You know, some of the women will share the straw, and you know.
Okay. So, as a woman who has never been married, and that really is not by choice, that is something that I have wanted, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be enough men ever out there. And so, and again, we are not just fighting, men in prison. We're fighting that, the Black woman. We're fighting homosexuals taking the men. We're fighting them, just not being, good enough and properly ready to take on such a role. They're immature in certain aspects. So the Black woman seems to have a lot going on against her when it comes to having this relationship. So I kind of fell into that trap of not getting married, and again, not by choice. But when you posed the question of, could it have been different if, society didn't say, it's either you're going to be a strong Black woman and, or you're just going to be alone, or your other options is to become lesbian. And, these are the things. So I didn't want any of that. I just wanted a husband, but I couldn't seem to pull that together. So when you say that, I'm thinking, wow, that could have been a choice where, hey, you know what? We share the same husband. It could have probably been an interesting life, and where the children would have been. I mean, in Bible days, this is what we had, right? Solomon had how many wives? 700.
Yes.
Abraham had, different wives. Throughout the Bible, men had always had multiple wives. And so I have a question in this aspect. So
and that's why I pose this question: why do Christianity, especially in the Black church, they'll praise? I mean, we become so adapted to homosexuality life and completely condemn polygamy, and that's the hypocrisy that Dr. White is talking. And I love a preacher. If anybody had to listen, the phone number is 47894-1680. 47894-1680. Let me give a shout out to my good friend Don Miller. And I know Dr. White was on Don Miller's show last week after this show. So don't forget to turn on at 8:00 on his podcast on Facebook and YouTube. And also Mrs. Principal, I'm saying hello to you and Glenn and to all the staff here at WOKB 1680.
My question, Voy and Dr. White, is, being that we had this situation during the Bible days, men married multiple women, there was multiple wives. So when was it that this thing shifted and it became such a bad thing to do? Like, when did that happen? When did that shift happen in our history? Do we know?
Well, it's when the Catholic Church became the dominant entity for Christianity.
Okay.
Remember, the dominance of Christianity was not in Rome prior. It was in Ethiopia, you see. But when the Catholic Church took over and it became what you call a political religion.
Uh-huh.
All right. And when it became a political religion, they created mechanisms for political, social, and economic control to keep one in line. And then when that happened, then we began to see the Catholic Church begin to have crusades against other groups of people. So when that happened, we're talking about the 9th century or so, then we took on this concept that, we have to decide how marriage is supposed to be. Forget about the culture, forget about the ways, forget about the means. It became what I call a dominant, power-controlled entity. You see, and remember, then if you didn't follow that, then everybody else, if you practice polygamy, you were called a heathen. You were called ungodly. So therefore, then the concept came in: we must push our culture, our politics, our religion to change the savages and civilize them. All of this is political, religious, cultural, social elements. And it's very interesting that we're, burying we have the Pope in state now in Rome. And, I one thing about this Pope, I think he was trying to get away from this social political control so much. He is from the urban, he is from the global South, I think Argentina. And he also knows there's something else that's taking place in the Catholic Church that may be changing these things. And that is the majority of the Catholics now are in Africa, not in the United States, not in South America, but in Africa. So therefore, if you have to look at the culture and you want the culture and you want this religion to continue to exist, you're going to have to make adjustments. You have to get away from this control freakish idea that they have.
So what you're saying basically is that once this started, it sort of took over and they were able to just tell people how to live their lives. It really became political and teaching people how to essentially follow rules and order, whatever it is that they were dictating. And so now the polygamy, as we're talking about, sort of went away or went into the closet, so to speak, where now it's pretty much non-existent, but especially in like places like America and Western civilization.
Yeah, everything changed. I mean, for example, prior to the Catholic Church becoming the dominant entity in Christianity, the images of Jesus was Black Madonna and child, even as far out through Poland, but it changes. Then the early elements of Catholicism, you had something like 7 Black popes. Then that was changed. All right, you won't have that no more. Then the whole element that Africa was in North Africa. When I say North Africa, I'm talking about the Middle East.
Even before that, the Black Madonna, which is in the Haitian voodoo, we call it Ezili Danto.
That's right.
You're well aware that that's what the Catholic Church was worshipped before Jesus.
Absolutely.
I think doing, if I'm right before after Constantine, that's when that changed. So the history is there.
Yeah, So therefore, I mean, I'm not talking bad about the Catholic Church, but anyone who's Catholic, and especially of the African influence or diaspora, you must begin to put your culture within the church. Remember, there's a minister, was a priest years ago by the name of Father Stallings. I don't know if you remember him. He was in Washington, D.C. He was a Black priest. And in his church, he had clapping and he had jumping and drums and so forth. And even he talked about priests should be married. All right. The church was so hostile to him. They said, "Oh, this is terrible. He's breaking tradition." So ultimately, Father Stallings left the Catholic Church and developed what, I guess, for lack of a better term, a Black Catholic organization. And I don't know how it's doing now, but for a number of years, it was the talk of the town, and it was doing well. You see, you have to. Religion should not change culture. All right, it should embrace culture, and we even have this in Islam.
But if polygamy were to practice in the United States, how we have so many what we call women so very independent, okay? How economically would you think would benefit the Black community?
Tremendously, because you could save money. But I mean, for example, many of the homes.
I mean, give me a little motion here.
Yeah.
Because when you look at country like Africa who practice it, a lot of these women is not working. They stay at home mom.
Mhm.
Okay. The way the Western civilization force that kind of culture on us to be so dependent. So for our women, none of them not gonna choose to stay home.
Mhm.
So how economically? So
Economically, the most expensive lifestyle is the lifestyle of being a single person. It's very expensive. Right? Now, if you have two people in, you can share the expense, you can share the labor. Now, if you have two or three, if you have children, everyone caters to the children. You may have one woman, wife, she may be agriculturalist. You may have another one who is a teacher. You may have another one actually who may have a business. All right. And they're all working together. And what we call this a collective unit. In fact, what we're talking about, we call it as actually African socialism and a collective unit. Nothing is bad about that. And this is what allowed the Africans to succeed, as well as the people in the Middle East to succeed and to grow and to become powerful for so many years. Even among Native Americans.
This question is for Amania. Amania, do you think right now the way the world is, we should push more polygamy instead of homosexuality?
I'd say yes.
Well, let's put it to the audience that's listening to us. Do you think right now the way America is going with transgender and the homosexuality lifestyle, should we have more polygamy in America?
You know,
and I would like to let
I think yes, and I'll say this: when I'm listening to you gentlemen talk about this is not something I've really put a lot of thought to, and so, but now my brain is working. So when we look at what's happened to the Black family and the Black community, where we have so many women who are alone, raising on their own, if the option was there to commune, Issa White, to commune with all of these different baby daddies and baby mamas, and everybody comes under one umbrella and raise the children, life would be easier for the Black woman. Life would be easier for the children, because then, you know, we're really doing something as a whole, not just one single mama struggling with 2 or 3 children on her own. There would be more help. There would be a way of getting out of this poverty, out of this situation. So,
but Amania, I used to have a friend of mine from Nigeria. He used to tell me it's not easy to have 7 wives under one roof.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fighting.
You got to do things, because the fight is all 7 different personality that you're dealing with. Yeah. And so that's not something. And how do you see our Black women in America who have very strong-minded, very very dependent for even three wives, or not even 7, but 3 to 7. Yeah. So how do you everybody?
Well, I would have to say, Voy, that the man of the house, the husband, he would have to handle these women. And these women need to know, like, yeah, we have to figure out how to get along. I mean, the women in the Bible did it. They figured out, when Solomon, all those wives, they figured out how to be, when he was, you know, feeling this one, you know, the other ones, you know, kind of went to the side and let him feel on what he was feeling on. So you just have to figure it out, you know. That's in my thought. You can't.
But
it must be figured out.
All the polygamous relationships that I know of, I don't know of any whereby one person or 5 or 6 women in one house. Typically in Africa and other parts of the world, they have complexes.
Okay.
All right. So because every woman want to have their space. Mm-hmm. All right. And if it's under one house, the house is huge. We talk about a mansion type thing. We're not talking about a 1,500 square foot house. All right. So it's like that. And typically most people, it's about 2 or 3s. And it's not like they're having these wives because the guy just want to be freaky deaky. You see, is the element of sometimes a woman has children, and because of circumstances, the man is not there, he's dead, he's in jail, or something else, and you want your children to have a male figure.
Okay.
All right, for development. You also want to have the lady to have a man, because if a lady is single for a long time, you see, not all women, but you don't want your mother or your sister to go from man to man. You want some stability.
Okay.
All right.
But Dr. White, let me ask you this as a man. I ask myself also, if you have, for example, 3 wives, do you think men still will cheat?
No,
Be unfaithful?
There's no need to, because men don't cheat because they have an urging. Typically, men cheat for different reasons, and the reasons are not always sex.
Okay.
It's be for
but do you
comfort.
think
I'm going to give you a case.
yeah.
There's something that's going to blow your mind now. All right. Let's take one of our great leaders, Malcolm X, right? Malcolm X. Who was he married to?
Betty Shabazz.
Who did he travel with?
I don't know.
Maya Angelou.
Maya Angelou.
Oh,
All right. That was his comfort. He loved Betty. But Maya Angelou was also special to him for different reasons. All right. So we look at that. So we see this with Fidel Castro. I knew him. He had 2 people. They try to make it like he was some type of sex fiend, but he wasn't. A man 50, 60, 70 years old, he can't be no sex fiend. No matter what he says.
okay. I'm still on Maya Angelou and Malcolm X. Like, I didn't even know that.
Well, a lot of people know this. All right. So in this society, we make polygamy sound dirty.
Right.
And it is so interesting. We have a lot of people in this country right now
Who does practice?
in this city.
Yeah, who does practice?
Who practice that type of lifestyle. All right. Because
let me put out a call out there. If you're in a polygamy relationship, please give us a call.
Really?
Please give us a call and let us know.
You don't want nobody to get shot, though.
No. If you're in a polygamy, or if you have 3 wives, 5, 4 wives, 7 wives, let us know. Give us a call at WOKB 407-894-1680. Okay.
Here's something. A good friend of mine named Michael Wallace, right? He was the 60 Minutes. Michael Wallace had his father, he's the father of Chris Wallace, who used to be on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Had a fine house here, fine family. But he had another family too. Guess where? Haiti.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
he loved Haiti, and he loved that Haitian woman.
Speaking of that, the deceased former owner of Rosen,
Harry Rosen,
has a Haitian mistress. Yeah,
I know.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And that was
cheat on everybody today.
that was well publicized.
Yeah. He's taking care of his people, he's taking care of his family, and as long as it's decent, he's taking care of. Who cares?
Well, let me turn that question to Amania in the audience here.
Yeah.
Amania, do you think if the polygamy was more suitable, available in our society, women will have, do you think men will cheat less and
I think so. And another thing I think is that the family structure would be more intact. The men is satisfied. You don't have women out here just, unmarried, just out here living the life loosey-goosey. You have more structure in the family. And I think also there wouldn't be any need for them to really go outside of this kind of relationship if that's what it was. They could bring somebody into it, but there was no need for them to go outside of it. So I think it would probably be healthy compared to what we're seeing today, because what we're seeing today is a destruction of the family, destruction of men itself, destruction of we the women ourselves, because there's so many of us. And I'm going to speak not just for myself, but I know a lot of us beautiful, healthy women who just
Jeff, I want you to check.
Nobody.
I want you to check the phone. Some people trying to call in. They said the phone is keep hanging up.
Okay.
Shout out to BB Ford. Shout out to BB Ford. Some people trying to call in. So make sure the phone line is working. Another thing, Dr. White, we see a decline in our society, especially we've been at 14% in population in the United States. We know that. And Donald Trump just bring up this. We're going to get into politics a little bit here. $5,000 baby bonus. Now they're calling that racist.
Well, when we think about what's happening in the society, so I did an interview recently with Dr. Kathy Altman. She was a person who worked at Planned Parenthood who did the actual abortions. She was in there, doing the killings. And so when we talk about these kinds of things that's happened in the society where the population is not growing, and what they've decided to do is they've brought people in from other countries. But when you look at our population here, we're getting older, but we're not really producing. And we are literally in the Black community killing our seed. We're not growing at all. I think it's 13% of the population is what Black people make up. So we're not really doing that. And so for me, this whole incentive thing that Donald Trump is putting out there, yes, it would have to be with married people. You can't just be out here baby mama drama, just getting pregnant and expecting $5,000. No.
Well, hold on,
no, this is a married couple thing.
We do have another call when we come back. After I take this call, keep that in mind, Dr. White and Amania, and also to the audience that's listening. Would polygamy would reduce the abortion rate in the Black community? Hello, how are you?
Hey, this is BB. How are you all?
BB, how are you?
Hi,
darling?
BB.
Hey, BB. How you doing, BB?
Hey, Dr. White.
Something happened.
Go ahead, BB.
Okay. So this is a very interesting conversation. I think I message in America because of how sold and marketed here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the word because it's got that same to it. That thought process, I don't know. This place would have to be washed over rinse before that thought process could even work in this country. And I say that because, believe it or not, a lot of our churches, especially in the Black community, already practicing polygamy or polygyny, or however they want to put it.
Yeah, she's right.
To in essence, to care, for the lack of words, to take some of the single moms, some of the women that's in the church, and putting them to the task of their gifting, task of their calling. However, I've experienced, because this is part of my testimony. Some years ago, I decided to be in a situation that was polygamy, and it definitely turned to something that was not accepted. It was not discussed, and it became dangerous, and it became more of I want to be careful when I say this. It became more of a policing mechanism than it was to be building, for the lack of words, building an empire, or building whatever it is, like Dr. White was saying. I can say personally, I definitely regret that I did that. I believe that as a single mom and wanting my children to see a man figure, thought that this was good for them, I put myself in a situation that backfired. So where the thought process was great because about your children and family, I don't know if that's a process that can work here. And that's just my thought.
Well, I respect that, BB, but sometime maybe it wasn't for you. Maybe if society would embrace polygamy even more, if the religious factor, the religious zealot in America, I would say the religious hypocrisy would educate us a little bit better and understand our culture, not pushing the Western civilization, I think we would have more amused to it, Dr. White.
Well, I mean, a polygamous affair relationship is based on a lot of study, emotional, spiritual, and of course, financial. It's a lot of study there. And it's not something that one walks into, because when a man takes on one wife, and that can be difficult in itself.
Absolutely.
But now he has two. That means he has
three.
He has made himself accountable. That he has to be responsible for each one of them. All right, in a fair manner. Then it's something whereby it has to take a full discussion. What takes place in America oftentimes, which I've seen, is, and I'm seeing now with the Muslim community, right? That's my frame of reference. Whereby a guy says, "Oh, okay." He comes home and says to his wife home, "I got another wife." He didn't say, there was no discussion about that. That's wrong. There has to be a family discussion.
So you have to consult with the wife.
That's right.
First, okay.
All right.
Before,
and in fact, most of the time, it is the wife who helps to choose. All right. Sometimes that wife, she may be in a position whereby she can't give any children, and the man may want more children. It may be the case whereby she's just tired. She's at another stage in her life. I mean, like the wife of Prophet Muhammad. She was much older than the Prophet.
What you say is so very interesting, because, like I say, I think it's education. Thank you, BB. Thank you for hanging on. Thank you. I appreciate the call.
No problem.
BB.
Yes.
Are you gonna run?
Yes, of course she is.
You know I'm not gonna let you go without asking you that.
Oh my God, I'm praying.
You praying?
I'm praying.
You should. I think you'll get it this time. Put a very interesting campaign. You got to start early. And I'm here for you, darling.
And I will add to that, BB. I don't know if you listened, but we've been talking about this for a while. And I said to the crew here that I feel like the father has literally paved the way for BB Ford, because the machine seems to be navigating in a different direction. And if I feel like the gates are opening to give you an opportunity to take that seat. And so that's where I'm at. And I really believe that that's what's happening for you. And it's just a matter of just taking it, because it's yours. You already worked and put your name in that district. And depending on what happens in District 15, I really, really think that this is your opportunity to just take it, because it's yours.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Well, the music is playing. I guess we're going to take our commercial break, pay some bills. We already spent almost an hour. It went fast on polygamy versus polygamy and the homosexuality. Why the and this is look at Jeremy. Just I'm not used to that here. We'll come back, taking the second hour. We'll focus on politics. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it.
Central Florida. It's time to rock your spirit and feel your soul. The Odessa Chamberlain's Quality of Life Fund presents the 2025 Faith and Fellowship Luncheon, Saturday, May 10th at the Rosen Center Hotel. It's another crown affair with musical performances by the legendary Dottie Peoples, Minister Maurice Crawford, Standing Ovation Talent Group, join JoJo O'Neill and funny man Rod Z, hosted by Dr. Lucille O'Neill and family. For more information, call Kim McNair Productions, 407-222-7389, or email kim@mcnairproductions.com.
Your body is a temple, but if you've been feeling sluggish, struggling with weight, or your hormones feel out of balance, it's time to give your body the care it deserves. God designed you for vitality and wellness. Skinny drops are a natural way to support your metabolism, restore hormonal balance, and help you release excess weight. They work with your body, not against it, so you can feel lighter, more energized, and aligned with the vibrant health God intended for you. I've seen so many women and men, including myself, break free from the cycle of exhaustion and weight struggles. When your body is in balance, the weight comes off naturally, and you feel renewed from the inside out. If you're ready to honor your body and step into the health God desires for you, buy Skinny Drops today. Call Shanti to get your box at 407-353-3743. Again, call Shanti to get your box, 407-353-3743.
Executive Administrative Assistant, Claremont, Florida. Financial reports preparation and other financial and administration duties. Requirements: bachelor's in business administration or account science or foreign degree equivalent. To apply, send resume to Super Bright Services, LLC, 13537 Granville Avenue, Suite 6, Claremont, Florida, 34711. That's 13537 Granville Avenue, Suite 6, Claremont, Florida, 34711.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why Milo's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards Milo's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join Milo's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Caribbean One Stop, located at 2117 West Colonial Drive in the Magic Mall Plaza between John Young and Tampa Avenue. Caribbean One Stop, home of delicious Caribbean foods. Yes, tasty, delicious soups. Not feeling like soup? Try their brown stew chicken, curry goat, oxtail, jerk chicken. How about brown stew red snapper, escovitch red snapper? Oh, a roti lover, are you? Yes, chicken roti, goat roti, veggie roti. Oh, yes, confused? How about a combination? And you vegetarians, there's always a lean, mean veggie plate just for you. While there, check out their over-the-counter pharmaceuticals wide selection. Hard to find West Indian groceries, pastries, West Indian ice cream. And yes, don't forget the music department. All CDs played in Caribbean Affair Connection Gospel Show available for you at Caribbean One Stop. Open 7 days a week, catering for all occasions. Call them now. Caribbean One Stop, 407-423-7552. 407-423-7552. Caribbean One Stop.
You're listening to Inspiration 1680 AM, WOKB Winter Garden, W2640F 100.7 FM Kissimmee, and around the world at WOKBradio.com. Inspiration 1680 AM and 100.7 FM Kissimmee.
The views and opinions of the following program is not necessarily those of WOKB, staff, and management of Unity Broadcasting.
Thank you, Jeff, for the first hour. It was very deep and emotional conversation, and we'll try this. We'll pick up some social topic, Dr. White, and we will have a follow-up on this point on polygamy versus homosexuality, how this embraced, not just now homosexuality, they raising transgender, let men become women and women become men. So the Western civilization, what they choose, and also the religious factor Dr. White called the pimp, choose to praise in the church, especially the black church, where they accept homosexuality even more. On a final point on noting that, one of the things we're talking about on polygamy in America, the women are very selfish, Dr. White.
Well, we live in a society, in a Western society, that pushes a certain type of attitude. And again, if we go back to the African tradition or the global South tradition, it's an element of respect, an element of people working together, and it's an element of the community, the neighborhood. All right, that's what families are, the development of neighborhoods and the state. I was looking at a program the other day, and the guy was saying, this was in New York in the 1950s. He said, on this particular area, we didn't even have to lock our doors, and that when children played, they played outside, and they can go to anybody's house to eat dinner, and the parents would scold any children. That is like an African-based community. Maybe polygamy set aside, but that's how it would be. And there is a certain element of holistic love and holistic respect. But when you don't, but when we get to the point where everybody is selfish and thinking themselves, it gets to the point that you don't even know your neighbors. It gets to the point whereby this is mine and nobody else's. We lose a sense of humanity. I mean, you could look at this in some neighborhoods. You ever seen some neighborhoods whereby one person add on to their house, then about 3 months later, somebody else add on to their house? Now it's competition. Mm-hmm. All right. It's an element of I am better, I am greater, and we're separated. Polygamous and communal living is the element of living together as one society. All right.
And hopefully that will change. Amania, if you have anything to add on to that?
I'll add a little bit to that. And I'm in agreement with you, Issa White, that there is a selfishness amongst us where it's all about me. And that is what we see in the community, in the Western world. Everybody is focused on what's in it for them, what's good for me. And so nobody wants to look and grow as a community. Nobody is working together. And that's, again, there's no team in this society, especially when we look at the Black community. We don't get along to do anything. You can't put us together. We can't pull Blacks out of poverty because we're always constantly fighting. And when we look at our history, we used to be able to do these things, but now we don't. And we are divided as a people. And again, everybody thinks that they can do better by themselves. And that's not the case. And by ourselves, we are decaying, we are falling apart. And if we could come together, maybe in a communal way, maybe in the form that we're talking about today, maybe that would be something that would, help the community, help the children, and help our society as a whole.
Thank you, Amania. Amania, next time you're in the studio, Dr. White wants you to be live in the studio, so we'll do a second segment on polygamy. Okay. I just that was a request.
Yeah.
So maybe
is there a proposal coming?
Yeah, maybe we should start a community of polygamy around here in Central Florida. So if we could change that, and with
I mean, who's to say you can't do that? What laws? Is there a law that says you can't do that? Like, who's to say you can't live that way if that's what you choose?
That's what you choose.
I mean, homosexuals are doing whatever they want, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
They have this whole they're all open relationships, all this stuff happening in their communities.
And we're gonna have people have a choice, be a polygamist.
Yeah. I mean, if you asked me if I would rather embrace polygamy or, being with one husband having more than one wife, or living with homosexuals, I'm on the other side of that.
Because
I'm in the polygamy camp.
Our second part is because when you do have a wife, the wife is tired, or maybe the wife is not up to the point, and then you find somebody else.
She may be sick.
Yeah, maybe sick that could help her out. I mean, there's all kind of good to it. That's the second part we'll touch.
I mean, I think there's good elements to it. And another good element is that, you know what, we wouldn't have a point that you brought up before BB came on was the abortion part of it. And so when we think about it, we might have less abortions, especially in the Black community.
If the woman knows that she's going to have some support, she'll be encouraged to have the baby.
Yeah. I think that's,
That's one aspect to look at it.
And most men that I know in polygamy affairs, they love children.
Yeah.
The more the better.
The more the merrier. The more the merrier. So I think abortion would definitely be decreased in that manner, especially in the Black community when we're talking about, growing the society, growing the American people. Yes, I think this would be good.
Absolutely. Dr. White, I know earlier we salute the Pope and rest in peace. I was looking some news from the Vatican. This Pope Francis, he was very liberal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's be clear on that.
Yeah. Very liberal. Rest in peace.
He changed a lot of things except to a gay marriage. I don't think he would.
Was all about that, the homosexual marriages. Let's be real.
And now there is candidate for a new pope. It's going to be for a new pope. And one of the candidates is Robert Serra, who from the Republic of Guinea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He founded
He's Black. He's Cardinal Robert Serra. He's a very conservative, pro-life, anti-woke. He's basically more conservative than Pope Jean Paul II. According to the
very good
Catholic, the news that's coming out of the Vatican. But there is two other candidates that's one moderate, and liberal. There's Asian. So the candidate, one of the candidates is an African pope. You think the world is ready to have an African from the Republic of Guinea to become pope, or somebody from Asia? Do you think the Pope, Sister Warrior, will play a DEI now this day that we're living? Is it time to have a Black Pope?
Well, in the day that we're living, so you say there's a Black candidate, an Asian candidate?
Yeah, Cardinal Robert Serra.
And the other one is what?
Asian
Black, Cardinal. And what else? Is it just the two of them?
Well, those are the two main contender. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's the two, I would love to see a Black pope, especially a conservative pope, who puts life first. So, I mean, I'm not Catholic, but being Haitian, we know that was the religion. Well, aside from the voodoo, that was the religion there. But I'm not Catholic, but I would love to see a Black pope. I think that would be something good to see.
I concur. The element with the Black pope, in which they're going to have to, because for the last few times they have sidelined the Black bishops.
1,800 years.
That's right. And so, and as I stated earlier, the strength of the church is not in the United States or in Rome. The strength, when I talk about the strength of survival and the numbers, are in Africa. And we know overwhelmingly that most of the Africans are not in favor of this homosexuality, lesbianism, transgender type of thing. They're not in favor of abortions, the majority of Africans. Now, there's one candidate, I think it's another one there I just saw, is from Ghana.
Yeah, he's another candidate.
All right. The one now, Ghana now is very interesting Ghana is the first African country to extend citizenship to blacks in the United States and the Caribbean, with no questions. But it is also a country that the United States is trying to have a footprint in, very, very, very heavily. So it may be a tug of war, but it may be the element whereby if they do choose this guy from Ghana, that he may look the part, but he may begin to practice some of the Western ideology that is very liberal. So it's really a touch and go, because the church understands that it's time that they have to have a black face.
Yeah, but do you understand the process of selecting the Pope?
I don't understand it. I'm not a Catholic. I went to Catholic school, but I don't understand.
Oh, okay.
I don't understand it either. I know something about smoke.
Voting.
Smoke coming out of the hole.
But I think the Vatican is under a lot of pressure, because the news that's coming out of there, since this Pope, a lot of these cardinals, and Dr. White, you touched on something. You say you're not a Catholic, but you should know a whole lot. A lot of these cardinals that's in that selection are from Africa. Mm-hmm. Okay, a little bit more conservative countries. Okay, there is one American Pope also. His name is circulating. They already view it. Some of the news coming out of the Vatican, it would not be a great idea to have an American as a Pope right now with whatever is going on in the country. Some of it is hating towards the political, some of the political aspect of that, and some of our social side of that. But the selection, when it comes to this time, there's a little bit more conservative members that's going to vote. But also there's pressure it's time to have a black Pope. So this is going to be serious to watch.
Yeah.
So let me ask this. So the counting or the ballots or however it works, is there going to be a majority of the cardinals are of African descent?
On that member, there's a lot of cardinal, but we don't know because we don't see the way the voting process is, the way the stuff is selected is very tough. They also look at the country of Europe, how some of these countries adopting some conservative values. Yeah. And what's holding the Catholic Church, once again, Dr. White said it best, is the African continent and the South America that's very conservative.
Yeah. Also, what's interesting is that, can you imagine, if there is a Pope, black, he would be in charge of the strongest religious denomination in the world. Remember that. Mm-hmm. Remember, the Vatican is declared a country. People don't realize that.
It is a country. Yeah, they have their own army.
Right. And it's
the Swiss army.
That's right. And it's the only religious entity that can vote in the UN. Only one. Mm-hmm. And by far the wealthiest. So you're talking about now a black man who is now the head of the religious ideology of all of Western thought. Can you imagine that? Wow. So therefore, they want a face, but we're going to have to be very, very careful what type of person is going to be part of that face.
What that face is going to bring, yes.
But there's a decline in the Catholic Church. And I think like you're saying, the Catholics are the richest because of the amount of wealth that they build. They have a lot of property throughout the world.
The theft.
Throughout theft. Yeah, you see what the last war between, I don't want to go into all this, Israel and the Roman, they destroy Israel, bring everything back to Rome. So yeah, they have it. And also for my Protestant friend, the doctrine of religion always start with the Catholic Church, no matter what you say. So if they put it out there,
the Apostles' Creed.
The Apostles' Creed. So let's be honest here.
You didn't know I knew that, did
you? I didn't. And they do have Muslim figure at the Vatican also. So if you guys didn't know that, so yeah, they all their religion when they get together, the Orthodox Greek, so they have them all there. So so that's going to be very interesting to watch, to keep an eye on. We might have a black pope, but we're going to see how the world reacted.
Okay.
So
that's interesting. I mean, we've had a black president, right? Why not a black pope?
A woman.
Let it not be Obama 2.0.
Let it not be Obama.
Let it not be Obama 2.0, please.
You know, Michelle's talking about the domestic issues again. You read about that?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They have to go to see counseling.
I guess, but I seen her with a podcast.
She's got a podcast.
The way I see her dress, the way I see Michelle dress and things that she's saying, she's a different Michelle.
She's a single Michelle.
I don't know. I just
she doesn't look very good.
I don't know. It's just she's different. You look in her tone. She used to be more conservative on her word.
Really? Yeah, she's very liberal.
She just put it out there.
Yeah.
Southside girl.
All right, I'm going to be in a torpedo here. 5 candidates now for District 15. The special election is going to start in June to September 2nd. Now we do have 5 candidates for District 15. No longer Randolph Bracy and Patrice Bracy. We have Alan Grayson in the race. He's always running for office. What the hell? Gosh, this guy is something else. He's
like the torpedo they throw in.
Maybe he just
mess things up.
This is maybe, and I think he loved messing with the Bracy. Remember?
He was the one who threw the monkey wrench for Randolph Bracy in 22.
and then put money for Corinne Brown to run. So I guess he got something against the Bracy.
More Randolph than Levon.
I think he just probably hate both of them. Alan Grayson. So he's not a fan of the Bracy. So whenever, and then we have Willie Mountaineer, and we have
Montague. Willie Montague.
And we have Coretta Smith, she's an attorney. She's a Democrat. An attorney and right here in Florida. She's been practicing law over 20 years. So this is very interesting. I saw she put up her signs already.
Yeah, I saw them over the weekend. And I was like, who's that?
Yeah, she has her staff campaigning pretty hard. I know her husband is Haitian.
Okay.
I know him. So I think this is her first time running for office.
Okay. Has she been political though?
I think she has, but she's not been vocal. She's been focusing on her practice.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know her. She's speaking a little bit. She seemed a little bit very more liberal on the liberal side. I don't know if she's very moderate. I don't know if she's very radicalized. I'll try to reach out to her. I have an opportunity to reach out, but we know where Alan Grayson stand. We know we have one Republican in the race. That's Willie.
So is this going to be like a primary with all of these Democrats?
Absolutely,
and then they face
because
then they face Willie?
The primary starting in June, and the election is September 2nd.
And so thus far, Willie's the only Republican in the race.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I hope Willie doesn't run this campaign from the last campaign that he ran a little bit better. And no, I'm being honest here.
Oh, God.
We need some strong.
The judge, ladies and gentlemen, the judge.
That he does have some support. Is the Florida Republican going to look at District 15 that we're not going to be able to win this? Like they told us when we were at a conference at the Lincoln dinner. It's not worth it to put their energy. Is that the attitude we have? So is Willie's going to make noise? Or is he going to be soft? I mean,
I hope he brings it. Yeah. I mean, this is his chance.
this
could
is
take
an
this.
opportunity to actually,
It's an opportunity.
because with this, what going on with the chaos, what's going on with the Bracy, I think you have to have a good candidate to make out a statement here. And people are talking about this. Dr. White, go ahead.
Well, I mean, we see Grayson and the two Bracies. They're going to turn the race into, you know me, I'm there, name recognition.
Yeah.
And Willie and Coretta, they're going to have to turn this into an issue race. What is needed in the district? What haven't been provided? They have to look at issues of industry. No one talks about that. They have to look at issues of affordability in reference to housing, buying, as well as rental units and the homelessness problem. They have to look at education, vouchers, and those types of things. They have to turn this into an issues race, because Grayson, he's a millionaire. He's going to bring his money.
He's going to bring his money.
All right. And LaVon Bracy, she's a pretty good speaker. So she's articulate. She has that features gap. And then you have Bracy, who's the fella. He's going to say, well, look at me. I'm kind of like my daddy. All right. I am the patriarch. So, but none of them can say what they have done. And none of them, I haven't heard Grayson and the Bracys, neither of them have said, well, this is what is needed and have identified the problems. Willie's going to have to bring it. He can't sit back and say, well, I'm just a Republican. He can't sit back on that. He's going to have to, as Sister Warrior stated, bring it, make some noise, and hit hard. And it sounds like this lady Smith, she's already starting to do some noise.
Yeah, I mean, her signs are out there.
Like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see how Coretta take this race.
Because, she's coming from behind. Like, nobody saw her coming, right?
Yeah, because now I'll say,
the X factor.
Now say we really got a race.
Yeah.
Because you look at the chaos between the Bracy, and I think the community, they're like, I don't want to deal with the
had
chaos.
enough with that. They don't want that anymore.
There's just too much damage. Okay.
Right.
But also is to put the pressure on the brothers and the sisters to say, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
Let's look at this. Okay. Let's look at this. I don't know how Mama Bracy feel.
Well, she's already endorsing the daughter.
Yes, she's already endorsing the daughter. And we know how chaotic, undisciplined Alan Grayson could be. That's another factor. That's another factor.
They're trying to kill us.
Yeah. Undisciplined, because I don't know what is that going to be. No tax on toll, no tax on rent, no tax on what was it?
Right.
No
He's going to promise something crazy, and people are going to fall for it.
Because
they don't know.
And he tends to be this marketing drop on Politico, but it doesn't have the bone for it. But he could be chaotic. So by him injecting himself in this race, he's definitely going after the Bracy. So I already know that already. So I don't know if the Florida Democrat told him, hey, listen, man, this we don't want either of the Bracys.
Right. Well, I think it's Willie and Coretta can steal the race if they play the cards right.
Well, I'd like to see what Willie brings. I mean, we've watched Willie over the years try to take on 10, and, he's fallen short so much. I don't know if he's got the juice and if he can raise the funds to get this done. I really don't.
Well, Willie got to roll his sleeve and have a pit bull advisor. I don't want a weak Republican candidate that's running.
And he's got to fight.
He's got to
fight. Like, he didn't. I mean,
Willie got to come like a pit bull.
Like we about to be Sister Warrior up in here. Okay, let the warrior loose up in here. So we watched this campaign last cycle. I've watched it for years. Last year, there was no fight. There was no effort. Willie just didn't bring the smoke that he could have brought, that he could have done. He just took this primary and, he just kind of laid back. And for me, that's not the way it is. Right now, you have an opportunity. There is no incumbent. Everybody has got a fair shake right now.
Absolutely.
Except for Alan Grayson, who has the money, right? It's a fair shake right now. You bring the fight, you bring the heat, and if you really want to do this.
But you have to realize you have two progressive radical on this race. That's Patrice Bracy and Alan Grayson. Alan Grayson is like a Maxell Frost.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the sister, Vaughn, she gonna come out swinging with rhetoric.
Yep.
With rhetoric.
And she's gonna have all of those progressive organizations behind her.
She's gonna have that Orlando, that crazy radical Escamani.
All of them.
Escamani, Maxell Frost,
Guillermo Smith, Darren Soto. She's gonna have them all behind her.
I'm gonna see people's gonna try to play it safe with Alan, but Alan's gonna come out swinging.
Yeah, with whatever left-wing politics, he's got.
So those two, and Randy, you could say a little bit conservative to that, but he's gonna fight.
Yeah, he's gonna try to build on, like you said, he's gonna build on Daddy Bracy. He's gonna build on what he did when he was in office before. Friend, it is a new day. It's a new day. We need some real policies. You can't run on your own record.
And what Randy might afraid to say against the sister,
right?
Because he might try to play it safe to get his mama back.
Yeah, he might play it safe with her.
I mean, he may not
punch her.
But
he may not give her the hook.
But Alan's gonna come out swinging, because what's the sister record? What is her record she's running on?
She's got no good record. She's done nothing.
For abortion.
But
all she's got is killing babies.
But
killing babies and cutting off boys' parts and cutting off girls' breasts. That's where she lives.
But Alan is also going to bring something else that we are overlooking. Alan is going to bring national awareness to this race. Alan is well connected. All right. He's a Harvard guy from the Bronx. He's Jewish. And he's going to bring those alliances with him. All right. And he has a very, very strong footprint within the African-American community here.
Right.
And then his money, and because of his ethnicity, he has fingers all over the place.
I'm going to give Alan a call. Alan, this is Voy Nikolas and WOKB. Give me a call because I really, he's funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach out to him.
He's funny. He's wild, but he's no one to play with.
He's no one to play with. He's a heavy hitter.
He's a heavy hitter. He's going to go for the knockout.
Yeah, he's a heavy hitter.
And I mean, he has the money to bury all of them.
Because you got to realize he knocked one Bracy before in District 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's going to try to knock two of them.
Yeah. Well, the Bracys may end up cannibalizing themselves, each other.
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then with Grayson's money, he will be able to bury the other two.
Okay. This, like I said, this is the only show.
In fact, I put it right out right now. He's the front runner.
He's the front runner. Well, we're gonna see. Well, like I said, I got to see his ad because I got to see what he's gonna come up with.
You know it's gonna be wild. It's gonna eye catchy, and he's not gonna give a damn.
And Dr. White, let me share something with you. when he ran for District 10, he put that no tax? Was it that year?
It was a no tax on the highway or something like that.
Yeah.
Something he couldn't even do that. Like,
I know. But guess what? One of the candidates I was consulting with actually called me and said, Voy, that's a really good ad. And I had to be honest. And I said, it's eye-catching, but don't worry about the ad. Okay? Do not worry about the ad. And later on, I was listening to some people. You know, that's when the toll was rising. And folks were talking about it in Florida. Well, I want to lower my toll. I said, God, dog. And I give him that respect, even he lost. But his point was, keep the message short. Mm-hmm. Keep the message short. And sometimes you got politicians have a whole list of laundry.
Yeah.
And just keep it short.
Well, when I think of Grayson, I think of New York tough. And New York, you know what New York tough is, right? Like we have a New Yorker right here, right? In that studio. And New York tough is, I don't give a damn.
Yeah,
all right. That's why that's Trump. I don't give a damn. All right.
That's our main chef on the board.
And that's
there.
how Grayson is. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
That's New York tough. Say it, deal with it.
But the Democrat in Florida, the Senate President leader, is stepping. Well, he's going to try to run for the governorship.
Who?
The Democrat president, Pizzo. He's going to run for
governor.
Yeah, for governor. He's going to step down leadership.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
so
he should just take a little. He should just take a hiatus, because that seat belongs to my boy Donald.
Byron, baby. That's it. That's
right.
Byron's seat.
But here's something.
Well, Byron's going to have a tough race. I'm looking at some stuff. Byron's going to have a tough race.
I think he can take
but
it.
The more the Florida Democrat is dysfunctional, the more they keep the craziness, the better it is for us. And that's where we're going to come now to our congressman here, Maxell Frost, went down in El Salvador to liberate the Maryland man, which is not a Maryland man. He's an illegal immigrant out of El Salvador who had domestic violence cases, human trafficking. His wife had a restraining order. I'm going to have all this clip play. And this is where the Democrat is the champion at. This is how the Democrat is fighting. And I hope the black people in this country, I'm sorry to say it like this, when is the last time the Democrat is fighting for you guys like that? When is the Democrat, when an immigrant victimized an American, that they go to extra miles? Now you have Senator Van Hollen out of Maryland. When they ask him, is he a member, is Kilmore Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13, he couldn't even answer that. When the wife had a restraining order and for domestic violence, she could not even answer that. And this is what the Democrat Party embrace: women beater, terrorism, okay, fighting for illegal immigrant. And that's why we got, and Maxell Frost is nothing but a fake. He's just looking for attention. We need something better. And I'll tell you what, if it's Alan Grayson running against this clown, I'll support Alan Grayson. I'm sorry. I'll support Alan Grayson.
I mean, he was in Congress before, right?
Yeah, he was in Congress before.
Yeah.
What was his record like? What did he do back then?
Actually, Alan was very tough. There's some stuff I agree with.
Alan, he did some decent things. He highlighted contradictions a lot. But the thing about Frost going down to Salvador, it was a political stunt, right? They're going to go to another country, try to bully a sovereign country to hand over a person that was sent back to their country because they were illegal and that they are a criminal. So you go in there. I mean, that is arrogance. That is American hegemony. That is imperialism. Who say you have to that country has to listen to the United States?
Right.
All right. And they knew if Frost knew anything about geopolitics, he would know that it was a faulty idea and it would not amount to anything. He just got embarrassed. I mean, him and the rest of them. The president didn't talk to them. They basically told them, you have no rights here. They tried to use, taxpayers' money to go, and that didn't work out at all. And he looked like a fool because they're doing that because they don't have nothing to stand on. He's been in office. He hasn't written any standalone bills. He hasn't brought any real change.
He doesn't have the capacity. That's
all
right.
And it's just a joke. All they think is a political stunt, and they just messed up with cronyism. So I think the American people will see this. But check this out. If they're really concerned about due process and imprisonment, well, Mr. Frost and your gang, what about the 200,000 plus men and women in this country of all different ethnic groups who claim innocence or who have been over sentenced in jail or who've been involved in kangaroo courts? Do something about that.
Yeah.
I don't see you going to 33rd. I don't see you going to Okeechobee. I don't see you going to the federal pen in Gainesville to stand out and to fight for these people.
Right.
He's hypocritical.
Hypocritical.
All right. He's a paternalistic racist.
Yeah.
And let me have some clip. I got some clip there. I'm gonna get ready to play because this is Senator Van Hollen. That's another clown in the Senate.
If he wants a political stunt, I challenge him to a celebrity boxing match.
I think you would take him, Issa White.
Yes, like every other trip.
Did pay for this trip?
This was an officially cleared, congressional trip, cleared on a
taxpayer
bipartisan
dollars.
basis. Yes, like every other trip.
Who did pay for this trip?
This was an officially cleared, congressional trip, cleared on a
taxpayer
bipartisan
dollars.
basis. Yes, like every other trip.
Did pay for this trip?
But you see, this is the craziness.
Deportation
This
is
is the craziness. How you use taxpayer dollar to go to El Salvador, where this guy already, the domestic violence itself, he should not. I mean, that's a deportable offense. Where are they going with this, Dr. White? Where are they going with this? Let me.
This is not about Garcia. It's about fighting Trump. They don't give a damn about Garcia. He is just no more than a vehicle to be utilized for their agenda. All it is that if they can slow down Trump and whatever he's trying to do, they take it as a win.
Absolutely.
That's all what they're doing.
Let me let you hear this clown.
They don't have any
building off
ideas.
of the trip of Senator Van Hollen, and we're not the first members here, and we're not going to be the last.
Democrats are like, you guys broke into our country, we should be able to break into yours. But they didn't have the right paperwork. It's funny how that works in other countries. So this isn't an official delegation. It's basically a few politicians on vacation.
On the taxpayer dime.
On the taxpayer dollar. Newt Gingrich said it best. Listen, let me.
I have never seen the Democratic Party this deranged. I mean, if you watch them, it's like they're looking around trying to find the weirdest, strangest things they can be for. And they're out there, I mean, give me a chance to be for males playing in girls' sports. Give me a chance to be for the most radical possible position on illegal immigration. Give me a chance to go out there and stand firmly for a whole series of ideas that nobody else in America wants. I mean, this is really remarkable, and it's almost like the party has lost its head.
Are they doing this because Trump is deporting this guy? I mean, if any other president were getting rid of guys like this, they probably wouldn't say anything. They definitely wouldn't be going to have margaritas in El Salvador with them. Is it just Trump derangement syndrome here?
I mean, part of it, to be fair, is that President Trump is probably the best modern politician at getting his opponents totally screwed up. He has some knack. I don't know how he does it, but he just intuits. If I do X, you're going to jump off the cliff and look like an idiot. So every morning he gets up and he thinks, oh, gee, I think I'll tweet something that guarantees they'll be crazy. And I would say 4 times out of 5, it works. And they go and do things, I mean, totally stupid. And they don't seem to get it. I mean, this is worse than Lucy with the football and peanuts. Remember, she used to always pull the football at the last minute? I mean, this is embarrassingly bad. And they don't seem to be able to get a grip on themselves. In fact, I suspect they get in a room, all the big donors, a lot of alcohol, hanging out, and they go, God, Van Hollen, you're so good. You're so courageous. We're so glad you're going out there making a fool of yourself. I can't figure out any other sociological explanation of this level of insanity.
Maybe they should stop drinking with donors and maybe hit the streets like Johnny to hear what the people really think. That'd be a step in the right direction.
On behalf of the left wing of their party, maybe they'll just relax, give up on alcohol, take a couple tokes, get totally out there and relax because, baby, it's all going to be so good.
It was just
the problem, they can't hit the streets.
Dr. White, let me give you this this thing. President Obama deported about 5 million people. There was 0 injunction, no Supreme Court block, no circuit judge blocked anything. President Bush, 10 million people was deported. No 0 injunction, no Supreme Court stepping, no circuit judge injunction. President Trump, up to 100,000 immigrants right now. You have 37 injunction. So many blocked by this judge, The latest one today that came out, I thought it was the law in the United States to be a citizen to vote. The president had signed an executive order to be a U.S. citizen. Now that's being blocked by a judge. You take it on.
These judges, they are more concerned with making a political statement as opposed to doing what is right and what they can do in reference to their influence and power. To block an order that states that a person should have an ID and should be considered American before voting, it's just plain silly. And it's just wrong. It's just stupid. But in reality of it is that there is a political elite within the fabric of our government, highly in the Democratic Party, that says that we must control, we must dictate, we must control a narrative that subjugates the American people to do our will. That's what has taken place here. And they and they're not giving up on that power. And they see Trump as a threat, not as a threat because he's a madman or an evil man, but as a threat because he is confronting their hypocrisy and the cronyisms that they have built up for a number of years. What do you think that's so, Sister Warrior?
Well, I think that the Democrat Party and the things that they have done to this country is something else. And when you look at this, Donald Trump is literally trying to do better for this country. Joe Biden let in, was it 20 million illegals?
Yes.
And they had no problems with that. And now Trump is trying to clean some of this up. And like Voy just said, he hasn't even deported half the people that Obama did. He hasn't deported that many people. But yet every day he's in court fighting these judges. And these judges, who are they to say to the president of the United States that we the people gave a mandate to, we the people? Trump's numbers are better in immigration across the board right now. The American people agree and they want this. They want to remove these illegals from the country. But yet you have Maxell Frost going to El Salvador to fight for this people when people in Pine Hills are suffering, people in Paramore are suffering, people in Eatonville are suffering. And I say all of these because these are the Black communities. All of these Black Negro communities are suffering.
That he claimed to represent.
Right. Yeah. But he's out there in El Salvador fighting on behalf of the illegals. But you here in Paramore, you can't even pay your rent. Remember our friend Coco?
That's right.
Getting removed out of her apartment complex because of illegals.
Mm-hmm.
But this is who they're fighting for. They're not fighting for we, the American people. They're not fighting for we, the citizens, we, the constituents. He's out there fighting so that he can be in the news, so that he can have, a few minutes on camera to show that, oh, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm fighting for democracy. That's what I'm doing. And it's BS.
I wonder where Maxell Frost was when Biden, if you guys remember, because I went to Del Rio and Texas, where you had thousands of Haitians between the border of Mexico and Texas, and that was the town Del Rio. And the reason why I went in there is to help and have some assistance to these people that needed transportation. Did Maxell Frost, when Biden was sending some of these people back without no due process, did he went to Haiti and fight?
No. In fact, what Maxell Frost did, he encouraged and co-signed for Biden to deport Haitians to Guantanamo Bay, to Port-au-Prince, and to the Bahamas. He never gave a flying hoot about the suffering of Haitians in Florida and definitely not the ones on the island. He just uses the front that says that, oh, I have Haitian blood. And I question that in itself. And it's more than being a Haitian blood. It's about understanding Haitian culture. All right. And being part of the blood, sweat, and tears.
Say his father was, but his father was Haitian.
One minute he's that, another minute he's Cuban. All right. But all the time he's a guy that's not connected to the community.
He's an opportunist. He's politician. He's a puppet. And like I say, any good decent Democrat. And the reason why he's doing this, they look at another thing is the Spanish vote, trying to cater to the Spanish vote. And this is where we got to pay attention to, because when you have politicians like this, okay, when you have judges who now blocking President Trump to an executive order for you to be a U.S. citizen, this is what the Democrat want. This is why they so oppose Trump. And Tom Holtman said it best. Donald Trump figured it out with all these illegal immigrants that was having Social Security. New York State last week, 800,000, the appeal court said no more illegal could vote in the local election. Because if they voted in the local election, guess what? They receive federal ballot. And that's what they want. That's why they so outraged, Trump derangement syndrome. And that's why you guys in the local community, baby, this message is for you, darling. And when you guys are run against these radical Democrats, watch out for these ballot broker and harvesting ballot. Now we have a Democrat supervisor of election. Listen to me, Amania, Dr. White, and Willie, watch out, keep an eye, because the shenanigan, because they're telling black people cannot get ID to vote, okay, because they want this illegal vote to go through, and they want non-citizen to vote. This is what this fight is all about, Dr. White.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's a fight about them lying to bring in another group. The issue is that Donald Trump has highlighted the contradictions, and he has highlighted the real problems. And the problem is that if we do not create a strong pillar and a fabric of Americanism, we will not have an America. We will not have a United States. They don't like that
And
argument.
we have to have a fair system.
We have to have a fair. In fact, what they're doing, Frost and the gang, they are undemocratizing the system. All right? It's not that they're fighting for democracy, they're fighting against democracy. In fact, about it, I would like to ask Frost, does he know anything about democracy? Can he define it? What does it mean? In fact, when I get to Congress, I think I'm going to author a bill that every sitting congressperson needs to take a test on civics and how this government works and the history of this great country. And if they can't pass it, they out. Plain and simple.
Seriously.
Plain and simple.
And there's a bill also being introduced in Congress by a House committee. This bill will require you to be a U.S. citizen to serve in Congress.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's absolutely right. I mean, because if we can go to Boston. I'm going to let Sister Warrior say something. Remember, in Boston, you have a lady who's just out. She was illegal, and she was a city council person. Yeah. To hold an office in this country or any country, you should be a citizen of that country. Right. And they have to vet you to make sure you didn't sneak in and do something illegal.
That bill introduced by Jim Jordan, and also not just for Congress, and also federal judges.
Everywhere.
Federal judges.
So are you saying right now that you don't have to be a citizen of this country to run for Congress?
No, you don't. Ilhan Omar is not a citizen. It was not natural. She's not a naturalized born citizen.
She's not a natural. She's a naturalized citizen.
No, she was not born in this country.
Oh, he's saying that you have to be a born citizen, not a naturalized citizen.
Okay. Okay, so that's what the bill is, that you have to be a born here citizen in order to run.
Yes.
Okay.
For Congress.
Or to take the seat.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Congress.
And that's not the case right now.
No, that's not the case right now. Yeah, you're not a born. And I think it'll be important for the judge, because one of the argument is, do you really, and you just said it, Dr. White, do you really understand this country? I'm not saying that you become a judge, you went to one of the fine law school in this country, but there is tradition. But I think, especially judges too, you have to be a naturalized one to really understand the nature of this country. Because, I mean, I'm fine with this, because you could see some of these radical judges, some of these opinions, how they view America, where their stand is, and that's something we'll do further. Okay, Dick Durbin spent 44 years in Congress, will not run next year, so there's going to be more Democrat out, retired in 2026. So Donald Trump will have an opportunity to have a 60, according to count now, a 60 majority in the midterm. Dr. White?
Well, I knew Dick Durbin. He did some good things for me, but at the same time, I'm glad to see him go.
And we should have term limit. I mean, this guy's
term limit.
I mean,
he's
Lord
44 years.
44 years.
So, in fact, I believe that no senator or congressperson should be in office longer than 3 terms.
I mean, if we have a term limit for the president, 2 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we should have a term limit for the Senate and Congress.
Don't
This
we
is
have
ridiculous.
a senator right now about 90 years old?
He's
been in there forever. You see?
It's crazy. It's crazy. There should definitely be term limits. There's no reason why we should have old people who can barely move around trying to be lawmakers. I mean, it's crazy. 50 years in, 44 years in. No, we need that. And none of them want to do it. None of them really want to do it. They'll tell you, oh yeah, I want term limits, but they get in there and they won't put the bill up.
Sister Hoya, the music is playing. Last word. If you have any announcement, go ahead and do so because the music is playing. Our time is up.
All right. I do have one announcement. Boomtown Community Partners is having its first annual car festival, car whatever festival. And there'll be food, family fun. So come on down. That's going to be on May 3rd, and it's going to be at the Church of Scientology parking lot, outdoors event, food, vendors, all of that. It's going to be a great, great time of fellowship. So Boomtown Community Partners, find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook.
Dr. White?
Hey, may I bring my book?
Yeah.
Blacklisted. The price for speaking truth. Please make sure you get it. Also, I don't know. Did I tell you that I'm running for Congress?
Go ahead now. Announce it again.
Oh yes, that's right. That's so. So it's official now. It's official.
You filed your papers.
Absolutely.
Okay, right. Okay.
No. So we're coming after them, and we're gonna bring in a new time. But listen,
I don't want you to be Mr. Nice Guy. You got to be like a pit bull.
I'm gonna be like a pit bull. I'm gonna be the meanest pit bull from Port-au-Prince. Yeah, you're fine. So anyway, the point is that listen. Thank you for allowing us to be on the show. I'm glad. I hope that you learned something, and listen and continue to listen to the best talk show in the city in Central Florida, featuring the Judge Voy, featuring Sister Warrior, Amalia, and yours truly, Dr. White, the Truth Teller.
Thank you, Dr. White, the Truth Teller. Thank you, Jeff, for staying at the board for 2 hours. Thank you, BB, for calling on our show. Thank you, Amania. Always love you. Looking great with that flower yellow dress you got on. Absolutely looking wonderful. And stay tuned with Lady D in the house. Looking lovely with that red and white flower. Happy Easter. I hope she had a wonderful Easter. And Dr. White, you didn't know I was that much fun, do you?
I did not know that. Man, you're something.
I could do this for 4 hours.
I believe you. You are our very own Chris Tucker.
Thank you, Dr. White, and tell your wife thank you for me. We'll have a segment 2 on polygamy. I would love to know the opinion of Lady D in polygamy. Lady D, take it on, darling.